And USI Mesa Insulation wants to save you up to 20% on your annual cooling costs, plus an additional 10% for being a Money Radio listener. Call 602-346-9287 to start your savings today. Meteorologist John Weatherby, Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
68 degrees right now. Dow is up 135 points at 18,120. S&P up 10 at 2107. The NASDAQ up 23 at 4948. Reporting for Money Radio, I'm Ken Morgan.
The views expressed on the following program do not necessarily reflect the views of Money Radio staff, management, or advertisers, and do not represent an offer to buy or sell any securities. Some interviews heard on this program may be sponsored by the participants. It's time for Health Futures with Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth. This is Arizona's only show dedicated to providing you with expert advice on how to live a longer, healthier, and happier life. To learn more, call 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures Taking Stock in You. We're a weekly show that's found right here on Money Radio, 1510 AM, 99.3 FM, straight up at 12 o'clock noon, right here from the Money Radio studios in the Scottsdale Air Park. And might I say we're having another great week of weather, and in for a great weekend of weather, and I really am feeling for my friends and family members that are living back east and in the Midwest and even in the South that are really hunkered down and dealing with this winter. So, I've shared with our listening audience, we love it out here in Arizona, and if you're tuning in from the internet and you're feeling really cold, come and visit, because we love getting visitors here. It certainly stimulates and helps our economy. So we got a weekend here ahead of us. It's hard to believe we're down almost 2 months into 2015. And, it's been incredible. It's been a great ride. And, we've done about 55 shows since January 2014. And I've had a number of great guests. And if you've missed some of our shows, you can always catch us on our website at cypresshomecare.com. Either on the very, very top, it says radio show, or if you scroll down halfway, you'll find a radio microphone. If you click on that, you'll be able to catch not only this episode, but you'll be able to catch about 54, 55 others that we have done. And just a reminder, listening audience, this is a show about how to live a healthier, happier life for our aging adult population. And we've been very fortunate to have some great guests on the show. And they've crossed the spectrum of medical doctors, research doctors. We've had financial service people on. We've had long-term care specialists, both in the community area as well as long-term care insurance. And today is a little different because I've got somebody that is in the financial services world and has been in the business over 30 years and has seen a lot from as it relates to planning and as it relates to really making sure that their clients are protected. And I use that word protected because in this day and age, you can never be too careful. And as our listening audience knows, this is Money Radio. And Money Radio is primarily about the money. But for us, it's about protection and protecting our loved ones. And this guest that I'm going to introduce in a second is protecting their assets. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce our guest to our listening audience, Todd Stoa, who is the president of Wealth Trust Arizona. Welcome aboard.
Thanks, Bob. Pleasure to be here with you.
It's good to have you here with us. And, for our listening audience, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about Wealth Trust because you're a little unique and different because you're not just a financial service company. You are, as I said when we first got started, when we met earlier this morning, you're like a one-stop shop.
We view ourselves as a one-stop shop. Wealth Trust Arizona was founded in 1996, and Genesis goes back to being part of our community during that entire time. I have the pleasure of working with 5 financial advisors that have a wealth of experience, combined well over 100 years when you combine all 5 of the advisors that I have the pleasure of working with. We are based in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we view ourselves truly as a wealth management shop. And let me define maybe what wealth management means from our perspective. Wealth management is truly the integration of all financial components, not just money management. We view wealth management as trying to be a quarterback or a point person for our relationships with our clients. So a single point of contact. And that is a trusted advisor role, and it makes us be very, very close to our family members.
Wow. I love that. I love that. And I've known Wealth Trust for a number of years. Maybe not for 18, 19 years of existence.
Right.
But I've known you for some time, and I've had the opportunity to work with some of your staff members. And even better yet, I've had a chance to work with some of your clients. And, first of all, I love names. And Wealth Trust says a lot. It really brings home what you guys do.
There was a concerted effort in coming up with our name. I mean, Wealth Trust, wealth is a common terminology used in our industry, but that trust factor is really, really important to us. And having that trust, developing that trust, and earning that trust is what we spend time day in and day out with our clients. And trust is earned over time. I think it's nothing that you can take for granted. I think it's something you have to really, really spend some time on. And as we deal with our clients, and I'll spend a little bit more time on our typical client. But it is typically an elderly client, someone that has family members spread maybe throughout the country. Mm-hmm. So as you're developing trust with those individuals, it needs to transcend not only into the clients that you're dealing with, but their children as well.
And trust is something that you earn. And you guys have done that over the last 19 years. You've earned that with your clients. And I know a lot about trust because of what we do at Cypress Home Care Solutions. Mm-hmm. Our clients and their families are trusting us to come into their loved one's home and care for them. And not only care for them physically, but, they have stuff, if you would, in their home that is valuable. And they trust that an employer-based agency like Cypress, that's been around for 21 years, can care for their loved one, and they don't have to worry about theft. They don't have to worry about anything maybe missing or happening in that home. And the same goes with Wealth Trust.
It really does. It goes hand in hand. And one of the most precious things we all have is our money.
Right.
And how do we trust and how do we protect that valuable asset? And who do we trust with that asset? So part of our onboarding process, getting to know a client, is very, very much spending time to get to know them, making sure they understand us, the comfort level is there, and that trust is built.
It's interesting. You mentioned the 5 advisors that you have. And I've gotten a chance to know, I think, every one of them. But you also have some ancillary services that are hooked in with you guys that aren't part of Wealth Trust Arizona, but they are affiliates, if you would, or how should I say, strategic partners of yours.
We like to use the word strategic partners. That's a great choice, Bob.
And can you describe some of those that you have in your arsenal?
Absolutely. In our model that we work with from a client standpoint, we are not estate planning attorneys, but we have relationships with multiple estate planning attorneys throughout the valley. So we're trying to connect, again, our clients to those professionals in the community based on their unique needs. Some are looking for a big firm. Some are looking for a medium-sized firm. Some of our clients are looking for that sole practitioner that they can develop a relationship with. From my chair, they all do a great job. My job, again, is try to connect those individuals to the right personality from an expertise standpoint on the estate planning side. So that's just one aspect. Another aspect that we would do for work with our clients would be a CPA. Again, we're not tax preparers. We have expertise in tax strategies revolving around our client portfolios. So we work very, very closely with the CPAs in the Valley, trying, again, to connect our clients to that professional network. Another area is risk management, the insurance aspect. How do we help our clients protect what they've worked so hard their entire life without losing the aspect to some unseen sudden event? So risk management, again, we work with specialists in the insurance field that help us bring that expertise, that unbiased expertise to the table. So that's three areas of expertise we bring to our clients.
And the nice thing is that each one of them is not operating in a silo.
Not at all.
So you are working hand in glove with one of those professionals and your client at the same time.
We find that our most valuable relationships when all the parties are at the table together. So we're working for the common benefit of that client. The CPA, the tax attorney, the wealth advisor, and a risk analyst, all working together and making sure we have the same goals and objectives.
It's like having the dream team.
The dream team.
The dream team. Todd, I'll tell you what, I've known a lot about Wealth Trust over the last couple of years, but I feel like I'm learning more. And I hope our listening audience is learning more as well. It's hard to believe we are coming up on our first break. So I want to be able to get ready for that break and really delve in our second half or our second session. And we'll talk a little bit about you and your background and why Wealth Trust was the right place for you and certainly the right place for a lot of your clients.
Great.
With that, you are listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. I'm Bob Roth, and I'm here with Todd Stoa, President of Wealth Trust Arizona. We're ready to take a break. We'll be right back.
Attention boomers and retirees. Call Anil Vazirani and Secured Financial Solutions at 800-957-5604, extension 200, to learn about an asset allocation strategy that encompasses up to 50 dividend-paying stocks, up to 10 exchange-traded funds in different sectors of our market, up to 12 high-yield corporate bonds, and the principal-protected low-cost new generation annuity to ensure a potentially secure retirement. 800-957-5604 and dial extension 200 to set up your complimentary strategy session with Anil Vazirani and Secured Financial Solutions, or go online at www.theripa.com. That's 800-957-5604, extension 200. Call today. Please read prospectus for risks, fees, and charges. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Capital Management, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
You know, they say money doesn't grow on trees, but remember, trees produce timber, and timberland as an investment has risen faster and with less volatility than the Standard & Poor's 500 index. In fact, since 1987 alone, in spite of minor losses in 2010 due to the U.S. housing slump, the NCREIF's Timberland Index has risen 15% per year compared to 9.61% for the S&P. During the Great Depression, in fact, stocks plunged 70%, yet timber gained 233%. And even in 2008, when the S&P lost 38%, the Timberland Index gained 9.5%. Nothing, of course, is guaranteed, but trees do grow every year by 4 to 8%, and they're unaffected by wars, politics, interest rates, and market crashes. Want more information on how to acquire timberland? Call my friend Alex Wilson at Maderas Futura at 855-888-6288, or go online at PreciousTimber.com. That's PreciousTimber.com.
Stop by Blimpie today to try one of the new artisan flatbread sandwiches. Choose from Chipotle chicken or Boom Boom turkey, or try any Blimpie sub on their new oven-fired flatbread. Blimpie, America's sub shop.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, Taking Stock in You. And if you're just tuning in, I've got Todd Stoa, the president of Wealth Trust Arizona, here in the studio. And if you missed our first segment, please go out to our website at cypresshomecare.com. Push on the radio button either on the top or down halfway down the front page or home page. You'll see a radio button. You can click on that and catch the first episode, and you can catch the next 3. And you can also catch about 54 or 55 other shows that we've done since the beginning of the year. Todd, I have had a chance to know you for a few years. I knew you before you came over to Wealth Trust.
That's correct.
I remember you used to be with a little bank called M&I Bank, and I think you and I met probably in 1998 or 1999. Were you there then?
I was, yes. I spent 17 years of my career at M&I Bank.
Wow. And I remember the location right there in Scottsdale off of Doubletree.
Boy, you have a good memory, Bob.
I was impressed with you. I really was. I was given a referral to come see you from an acquaintance of both of ours, and I was very impressed, and it was really nice to get reacquainted with you a couple years ago when you joined the Wealth Trust team.
Thank you.
So what I'd like to do, if you wouldn't mind, share with our listening audience, because you got a rich history in banking before you came to Wealth Trust, and even before you came to Arizona, I learned that you were from North Dakota.
I did grow up in North Dakota.
And it's pretty darn cold there right now.
It is. I checked, and it's well near zero, if not below zero, from a wind chill standpoint.
Wow.
So I did grow up in North Dakota. I graduated from University of North Dakota, graduated in 1984, moved to Arizona at that time, and started my career in the banking field, and spent most of my career in banking field. Specifically, my career delved, as I was with M&I, as you mentioned, into the wealth management field. So a very, very close connectivity to what I'm doing today. And I love what I'm doing. I have a passion for helping people. I love getting to know people, building relationships, and making sure that the clients are comfortable with who they're working with, going back to what we talked about in the first section, trust. And I think it's been a rewarding career for me. It's been I've been part of the community as well. I've lived in Scottsdale the entire 30 years of living in Arizona. I have a beautiful wife who's a nurse at the Mayo Clinic, Arizona. We have 2 children. Our oldest is a sophomore at University of Iowa, and our daughters
Go Hawkeyes!
Go Hawks! And our daughter's a junior in high school here in town. So
nice.
It's been a great place to raise a family and be a part of the community and give back to this great place that we feel fortunate to call home.
You know, it's interesting. You echo sentiments I share all the time. What a wonderful place to raise a family here in Scottsdale, Arizona. The weather's not only great, but the people are great. And we got incredible resources right here in our backyard, whether it be from museums, whether it be our science museum, to sports and activities, to culture. We've got it all. And certainly we just came off the month of January where we had the Super Bowl, we had the Phoenix Open, Waste Management Open, we had
Bear Jackson,
we had the horse show. We've got it all here.
We do.
And
we do.
It is amazing, because you coming from North Dakota and me coming from Maryland, you would think that it's like that everywhere, but it's not.
It's not. And again, sometimes we take it for granted day in and day out.
We do. And I got to tell you, and I want to share with our listening audience, you talk about how small this world is. I just pulled up your bio, and you talk about the community. And, you've been one of the pillars of the community. You've been involved in the Chamber at Scottsdale. You've been involved in the Phoenix Art Museum, Waste Not of Arizona.
Correct.
And then lastly, it's so funny. You talk about how small this world is. My chief operating officer and business partner on the consulting side, Scott Spangler, who was a guest on the show in January, I walked into his office in December, I think it was, and your card was sitting in his office. And I looked at him, I said, "How do you know Todd?" He goes, "From Ducks Unlimited." And I said, "Are you kidding me?" And I asked him, I said, "Did you tell Todd that you knew me?" He goes, "No." And I said, "Did you tell him you worked for Cypress?" He says, "No, we were talking ducks."
We were talking ducks. One of the passions I share with as well. Ducks Unlimited has been around since 1937, and its mission statement is habitat conservation. So as we go out into this world and try to make this world a better place, to preserve the habitat, not only for ducks, which we focus on, but helps all the wildlife out there. So I'm currently state chairman for Ducks Unlimited.
Nice.
And very, very involved in that organization from a passion. And I've had a chance to meet so many great people being involved in that organization, such as Scott. You get people from all over the country or the local people who grew up with a passion for wildlife. So it's been a great outlet for me beyond what I do day to day in my wealth management role.
And they have a great following here. Scott, because of his involvement, has had me attend their annual galas, if you would. And they're not black tie galas. They're duck hunting type galas, if you would. We had it over at Westworld before. I don't know if you're still having it over there, but there were probably like 150 people there and lots of great prizes and good food. And like you said, it's not just the ducks. It's preserving the wetlands and the habitat that they have.
It is. Many think that Ducks Unlimited is all about hunting ducks, and it's not. Many of us enjoy that sport, but beyond that, it really goes back to its mission statement of protecting the wetlands.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And, I hope our listening audience really understands that our guest here today is really entrenched in our community. And really, when you are involved in the community, you are giving back. And not only giving back, but you are a fabric and one of the new pillars of the community. And we get the opportunity, Todd, to take care of people that help shape this community. And you talked about the elderly, and that's something that is near and dear to my heart. And really the purpose of our show is really to help our elderly, but help them to live a healthier, happier life. And you do that utilizing the resources that you have available to help preserve their assets and help them live out their lives as successfully as they can. And one of the things we talked about during the break was, I'd love for you to share with us, because you get the opportunity to interface with so many of your clients. I would love to have you share with our listening audience some of the stories, if you would, because you shared that you had something that just happened just the other day, but you didn't go into it. So if you wouldn't mind, share with our listening audience some of the results of what Wealth Trust Arizona does.
Thank you, Bob, for that opportunity. I think it's very impactful to be able to spend time with our prospects and clients, because everyone has a unique story. No two are exactly alike. And I think that's the enjoyable part for me from a career standpoint. But let me share one that happened recently. We received a phone call that was based off of our website, and they'd done a little research on wealth management firms, and they checked us out, and they gave me a call, and they said, I'm not sure if we're a right fit for you. And so we spent a few minutes on the phone, and there's a husband and wife. He is nearing retirement. He's worked for his company for 35 years, wow, which is unusual in this day and age.
It is.
But he's been there 35 years thinking of retirement. And his main question was, do I have enough assets to live comfortably in retirement and enjoy the things that my wife and I want to do? And I said, we'd love to sit down with you, understand your story, understand your unique needs. And again, it's getting to know them. Again, it wasn't focused just on asset management, because we start every relationship with a written financial plan. And that financial plan is a roadmap into the relationship, and where do we start, where are we at this point, and where do we want to go to. So that is that they said that sounds like a great place to do. So we had a meeting down in our Chandler office with this couple, and he has, like I said, worked for this company 35 years. So he's fortunate to have a pension with this company, which is unusual, again, in this day and age, a lot of times. He has amassed a 401k or contributed on an ongoing basis, lived comfortably within their means. That relationship has turned into a second meeting, because the first meeting was very productive. They saw value in what we were providing. They wanted to continue the dialogue. And I should mention, we're always willing to meet with clients on a no-cost, no-obligation, first-time meeting, just to understand, is it a right fit for that couple or that individual, and also for us.
I love that. And
I'll tell you a little bit more about the story if we can continue.
I know we're coming up on a break, and I want to hear the rest of that story. And I know it's going to be more time than we have left. But seriously, that is probably a lot of times how people connect to you. And they connect to you saying, hey, you know what? I need to make sure I've got my affairs in order, my plan in place.
Correct.
And I've heard this station, and there are a lot of people that talk about planning, and they use that analogy about, hey, if you fail to plan, then you plan to fail. And that is something that Wealth Trust does, and Wealth Trust does really well. So we're coming up on a break. I'm Bob Roth. I'm here with Todd Stoa. You're listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. We'll be right back.
Temperatures were in the single digits throughout much of the Northeast this morning. A 6-inch water main burst in Englewood, New Jersey, near Christian Cloud's parking spot.
By the time I got out there, it was like over an inch thick of ice just caked on the side of my car. I couldn't open the door. I literally had to jump in from the other side.
At the White House press briefing, spokesman Josh Earnest responded to former New York Mayor Rudolph Giuliani's comment that President Obama doesn't love America.
The truth is, I don't take any joy or vindication or satisfaction from that. I think really the only thing that I feel is I feel sorry for Rudy Giuliani today.
A man has been arrested in connection with a small explosion near the NAACP's Colorado Springs offices. It caused minor damage and no injuries last month. The FBI investigated it as a hate crime. Greece and its Eurozone creditors appear to be edging toward a deal as finance ministers thrash out a response to the Greek request for a loan extension. The Dow is up 118 points. I'm Evan Haining.
Ready to be amazed? Metro PCS is ready to give you unlimited 4G LTE high-speed data for $50, period. Taxes and regulatory fees included. All riding on T-Mobile's nationwide network. $50, period. No gimmicks, no annual contracts. But this offer is only available for a limited time. Only at Metro PCS. Available only on Metro PCS GSM LTE phones. BYOD phones not eligible. Coverage and services not available everywhere. Restrictions apply. See store or metropcs.com for details and terms and conditions of service.
I'm a mid-century architectural wonder, a house made entirely of glass. So you can imagine my fright when giant pieces of hail started falling from the sky. Did I mention I'm made entirely of glass? Everyone was running here, running there, trying to get out of the house, but what am I to do? I am the house.
Your house can't protect itself. That's why the Geico Insurance Agency helps make it easy to switch and save on homeowners insurance. You could save even more when you combine your homeowners with an existing auto insurance policy. Call Geico, go to geico.com, or visit your local office.
Talking about real estate and investing in real estate could be very boring. That's why you'll appreciate the difference when Jason LaFleche comes roaring out of the gate like a rodeo bull on the Real Estate Power Hour. Every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. right here on Money Radio. Join Jason, Sandy, and special guests who are experts on all facets of real estate investing. They want to make sure you make the right move. And your first right move is to listen and enjoy.
Hi, Bam Ransom here, along with Johnny Dean and Rick the Professor Plum. We know how important financial planning and wealth education can be, so we're focusing the show on the investment strategy designed for the needs you have today and the goals you have for the future. Join us for Bucket Strategy Investing. Bucket Strategy Investing. Answering questions about your most important financial challenges, your 401ks, IRAs, Social Security, and more. Join us every day for Bucket Strategy Investing.
Laura Bramnick is a real estate agent and a real estate attorney. Laura Bramnick knows that a good attorney safeguards her clients and their well-being. Each decision or direction she and her clients make together is with one purpose, the most effective resolution, for now and for the future. For more information, visit talkrealestateaz.com or call 480-624-2705, 480-624-2705. To talk with Laura, call 480-624-2705.
Trading is simple. Institutions consistently make money, and most retail traders lose over time. Sure, they get lucky when the market goes up, but they give it all back when the market goes down. Individuals lose because they try to take money from the big guys instead of other retail traders. You can't beat Goldman Sachs, so stop trying. Learn how to get on the smart money side of the trade, and you'll find trading to be much easier and more profitable. Check out The Right Side of the Trade, brought to you by Online Trading Academy Phoenix, every Tuesday at 9 a.m. on Money Radio 1510.
Is the U.S. shale revolution a good or bad thing for America? Hi, this is Troy Eckert, CEO of Eckert Global. Every Monday at 12 noon on Money Radio Station AM 1510 and FM 99.3, we will present a segment called Energy 101. Everyone listening on this radio station is affected by the price of oil, natural gas, and the shale revolution taking place in America. Again, Troy Eckert, Eckert Global. Be there at 12 noon every Monday, Money Radio 1510 AM, FM 99.3. See you there.
Kubota is proud to sponsor Alan Jackson's 5th anniversary Keepin' It Country Tour. Alan grew up around machinery and likes things that last. Kubota is proud to be part of it. Visit Kubota.com for more information.
I'm Bruce Vail with Your Money Now. Apple has conquered the smartphone world. Now the maker of the iPhone is taking aim at the auto industry. People familiar with the company's plans say Apple has hundreds of employees secretly working on an electric vehicle. They say the initial design resembles a minivan. Apple may or may not move forward with the project, as the company often investigates technologies and builds prototypes for things it won't ever sell. And speaking of Apple, or in this case apples, the Agriculture Department has approved the first genetically modified apple for sale in the U.S. The Arctic apple was created by Canada's Okanagan Specialty Fruits. It was engineered to resist browning when cut open or sliced. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 46 points Friday and will open Tuesday at 18,019. The Nasdaq Composite gained 36, while the S&P 500 gained 8 points. That's Your Money Now.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
Hey, Mom, are you coming to dance class tonight?
Daddy is. Mommy has to work.
Okay, cool.
My husband and I share everything. Cooking, cleaning, childcare. We have to. We couldn't make ends meet without two incomes, and that kept us worried. We knew if something happened to either one of us, the rest of the family could be in big trouble financially. But we kept putting off getting life insurance because we thought it would be too expensive. Then we found AIG Direct. We were surprised to find that through AIG Direct, a $250,000 policy is less than $14 a month. Now we're protected with AIG, and that feels good.
Helping to protect your family through AIG Direct is fast, easy, and incredibly affordable. Call AIG Direct now and get a free no-obligation quote in less than 5 minutes. Call now and you can save up to 70%. Call 1-800-530-6139. That's 1-800-530-6139. 1-800-530-6139.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Welcome back. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And I'm here today with my guest, Todd Stoa, the president of Wealth Trust Arizona. And it's hard to believe, Todd, we're down 2 segments. We're having a lot of fun here in Scottsdale Air Park here on Friday, February 20th. Looking forward to a great weekend. Got anything special planned for the weekend?
I'm actually volunteering for Ducks Unlimited on Saturday. We're going to be down at Bass Pro Shops. Actually, take that back. This Saturday, we're at Sportsman's Warehouse in the Phoenix location, promoting what we do from an awareness standpoint.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
So giving back again to the community on my weekend.
Well, you know what? Those are the things that we do. For me, my mother-in-law came into town, so my wife and I get to do a little bit of entertaining. And on Sunday, I was given the honor of being the MC for a big event that's happening down at the Arizona Jewish Historical Society, and it's called the Best of Jewish Phoenix.
Wow.
And we're honoring 10 incredible families that helped shape this community. And you and I have been talking about community and how important community is.
Absolutely.
To our existence.
Congratulations on your role. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. Thank you. So for our listening audience, we just broke from the second segment, and you were doing a great job of telling the story, and I know that we wanted to preserve it so that we could tell the story in its entirety. So if you wouldn't mind, Todd, set the table just real briefly on where we left off in the last segment on the story, and it really involves the trust that you have with Wealth Trust Arizona.
Thanks, Bob. So again, our couple called us trying to determine, are they comfortable in retirement? Are we planned properly? Do we have the right resources? Can we live a comfortable retirement? That led to a face-to-face meeting with one of the partners that I'm fortunate enough to work with, Brent McQuiston, who is the CFP, so he carries that Certified Financial Planner designation. And we've had a chance to meet this couple twice now. And that meeting has led to a retiree or a pre-retiree, 35 years with his job.
Big pension.
And a great, he's built a great nest egg.
401k.
401k. So he's asking us, do I have enough money to live comfortably? So that leads right into exactly what we do day in and day out with our clients. Start with a written financial plan. That plan is our roadmap to opportunities with that client, assess their risk tolerance, Are they could they do some things differently, possibly, than they're currently doing? And looking to hire a professional. We view ourselves as just like a professional, just like an estate planning attorney, just like a CPA, just like their medical professional. We are a well-versed firm that specializes in building trust and providing value. So that relationship has started with, again, a conversation into a written financial plan. And let me spend maybe a couple minutes on what that written financial plan looks like.
Please do.
That is the roadmap. It's a current assessment of where the couple is at this point, their resources that they have amassed, and their goals and objectives they're trying to achieve in retirement. For example, this client wanted to do a trip to Europe once a year. They wanted to say, let's do this, and maybe the cost bucket in today's dollars is $15,000 for that trip. And they said, we really, really want to do this while we're able to travel, because many of our friends, have talked about goals and aspirations they want to have, and then sudden illness, or a chronic illness sets in, and they're not able to do that. So I think I really admired this couple. They knew what they were trying to do from a goal standpoint. And that was just one of their goals, for example. So we built into the plan an annual allocation of $15,000 for them to travel in, again, today's dollars, to Europe. So they wanted to travel a barge down the Rhine River and see some sights they hadn't seen, enjoy the scenery, enjoy the company of all that Europe has to take in. So that was just one example of one of their goals. So what we did, we showed them through our planning software that they have the resources they have, their monthly allocation of dollars that they're trying to live off of in retirement. This couple was very, very fortunate. As we did our simulation, we were able to show them that with 99% certainty, so almost 100% certainly, they were going to be able to achieve their goals. And one of their other goals was giving back to charity. Again, helping our community become a better place. And again, every client has unique goals and objectives they're trying to achieve. Our job is to help guide them into that process, help them achieve their wishes and aspirations, because everyone has a personal story, and trying to make sure that that story resonates with them and their children is just critical. So that client has that prospect has now turned into a client, I'm happy to say. They saw the value in what we were providing, and I look forward to a long-term relationship with that couple that we were able to help and reassure them that they are on track to meet their objectives in retirement.
I love how you describe the plan and road mapping. And, I talk about road mapping from a business standpoint, but you get a chance to talk about road mapping in somebody's personal, financial, and well-being roadmap and how they see living out their life. And, it's interesting. You brought up that one point about, they wanted to do travel before illness and their age would prevent them from doing that. And, I don't think that can resonate any more than that client describing that for our listening audience and even for me. There's so many things that we take for granted, and one of those is our health. And for those listening today, hopefully you heard Dr. Bernstein on last week talking about sitting is now the new smoking. And we really need to take care of our bodies. We've learned a great deal from our parents' generation and their parents before that. You and I both graduated high school and college at the same time. We're the same age. But, 50 is really the new 30.
Agreed.
I feel like it. And, certainly living in this climate, has given us the opportunity to, how should I put it, make ourselves or preserve ourselves so we can live a much longer, happier life. And, I think that's something that we all need to be mindful of. We're all looking for that retirement, and we're going to do a lot more in retirement. But today is something we need to live for. And really, and I'm going to give you a big plug here, Todd. I mean, firms like Wealth Trust will enable you to be able to take advantage of today and tomorrow at the same time.
I think that's well said, and thank you for the compliment. We really do. Again, as we develop those relationships, it's not just about the money. It's the planning process, and what is that legacy? What does that look like? What good do you want to do to your community, for your children, for other aspects? Everyone has their own cause, and we really have seen stories so many people have amassed a great amount of wealth, and that is, if you can make a difference during your lifetime, that just sometimes is rewarding to see what difference you can make while you're still alive. And look at those family trips. This couple that I was talking about is going to include their children at least every other year. So it's not only about them, but it's the legacy, because what we all remember are memories.
Right.
You know, isn't that more important than dollar sign?
My wife Susie and I, we talk about that often with our children. We need to make the memories. We need to make those memories. And really, you know, for me and everyone listening in, you know, we can't take our health for granted. And, you know, we need to live for today. And in order to live today, we have to have a good plan. And we got to be able to plan for tomorrow, because we just can't live today. We got to live tomorrow. And we also have to make sure our wishes for after us departing this world are really taken to heart, and they're carried out. And a firm like Wealth Trust can make sure that happens. So with that, I think we're down our third segment. It's hard to believe it, Todd. Time does fly when you're having fun. And you'll have to tell me, Ducks Unlimited on Saturday, huh?
Saturday, Sportsman's Warehouse, Phoenix location.
Okay, I might have to come on by and harass you there for sure. You're listening to Health Futures. We're down 3 segments. Come on back. We'll finish up our 4th in a second. We'll be right back.
I'm Sinclair No, inviting you to join me as I talk with Jim Gintrup from Valvista Capital Management every Tuesday at 4:35 on the Financial Review. We'll cover small and micro-cap stocks and, of course, Jim's Stock of the Week. For more information, visit valvistacm.com. That's valvistacm.com. And be sure and tune in Tuesday at 4:35 right here on Money Radio.
Howdy. For Money Radio, I'm Whit LaRue. What am I doing talking up Money Radio? Well, sir, you see, I used to be the most famous movie cowboy that there ever was. Got paid handsomely for it, too. But out on the range with just my horse and my less than smart sidekick Stumpy, there weren't no way to listen to Money Radio. So I spent every penny I made mostly at the saloon. Saved nothing. Don't be like me. 2 things. Keep listening to Money Radio and don't wear your hat too tight. See ya.
Do you own a home or have plans to in the future? Don't miss Real Estate Radio Arizona with Carol Royce, Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Money Radio 1510 AM and 99.3 FM. You'll get all the information you need to know about what's happening in the local Arizona real estate market and how to take advantage of that knowledge. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, listen to Real Estate Radio Arizona with Carol Royce, Saturdays at 9 a.m. right here on Money Radio 1510 AM, 99.3 FM.
Hey folks, want to buy some luxury property, building lots, high-end residential or commercial real estate, and cut out the middleman? Well, you can do it with the help of one of the largest auction firms in the United States, headquartered right here in Phoenix. They are Auction Systems, auctioneers, and appraisers. Did you know that you can find just about anything imaginable at really great prices? Real estate, luxury jewelry, electronics, office furniture, you name it. Go to auctionandappraise.com and register today. It's free, and the deals are incredible. It's by far the best and most efficient way to buy or sell goods. Go to auctionandappraise.com, get on their email list to be notified about which items are coming up at the next auction. And if you own a business and have excess inventory that you want to sell quick, or maybe you want to even launch your products into China, Auction Systems can get the job done for you. Call them today at 602-252-4842 or check them out at auctionandappraise.com.
Stop by Blimpie today to try one of the new artisan flatbread sandwiches. Choose from Chipotle chicken or Boom Boom turkey, or try any Blimpie sub on their new oven-fired flatbread. Blimpie, America's sub shop.
Now back to Health Futures, taking stock in you. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call 602-264-8009. Now, here's your host, Cypress Home Care Solutions, Bob Roth.
Good afternoon. My name is Bob Roth, and you are listening to Health Futures, taking stock in you. And today I've got a special guest in our studio. I've got Todd Stoa, the president of Wealth Trust Arizona. And Todd, I haven't had a chance to give to our listening audience your contact information, and I want to make sure that they have this because it's really important for me to convey this because of what we talked about for the first 3 segments, trust, and some of the great work that you're doing for the clients and for the community here as a whole. So for our listening audience, if you want to reach Todd, you can call him at 480-483-7300 or go to wealthtrustarizona.com. It's a website that's rich in a lot of information. And as Todd shared that story about that one client, they found him on that website. So, definitely check out Wealth Trust Arizona. And like I said in the first segment, they're a one-stop shop. They have these great relationships with people that provide services beyond financial services. As he talked about CPAs, he talked about attorneys, he talked about risk. They have a network of services that are available. And I'm pleased to share with our listening audience, I fall into that category with Wealth Trust. And, you mentioned that you've got 5 financial advisors, and there are a couple of them that have relied on the trust. And again, emphasizing trust in relationship that we have at Cypress Home Care Solutions. And, Todd, you shared that you have a lot of elderly clients that are doing the planning. And, at times they not certain as to what the future holds for them. And the nice thing is, what we do at Cypress Home Care Solutions is we enable so many members of our community to be able to live their lives out at home if that's what they desire. Now, home may not be for everybody, but those that can stay home can do that with the services that we offer at Cypress Home Care.
I couldn't agree more. When you visit with our clients, what's the number one wish? To remain in the comfort zone of where they're comfortable day in and day out, their home. And for our clients from the planning process, that evolves right into the planning question. Long-term care. How are we helping them make sure that they are where they want to be? So, yes, we've had a great relationship with you, Bob, and your company. And Cypress has done a superb job in dealing with all of our clients that we've had a chance to work jointly together with.
Thank you. And part of that planning process, Todd, and I got to tell you, we talked about this at the break, long-term care insurance. And, while, that isn't something that you have in your arsenal per se, but you have relationships with long-term care insurance advisors. And, I don't think I realized until I joined the family business back almost 12 years ago how much our services cost. And that's with after-tax dollars. And I'm going to tell you, nobody really does plan to need long-term care services. And they include not just home care, but that includes staying in an independent or assisted living community, skilled nursing. A lot of people are under this misnomer that Medicare pays for all this. I've got news for you, and I've shared this with our listening audience before. They don't. The only way you can have someone pay for this is if you are on our state's Medicaid program. And that means spending down your estate and really being out of money. You can't have more than $2,000 of income coming in on a monthly basis. And that is where firms like Wealth Trust can evaluate where you stand right now. Like that example you gave us before. You got a chance to look at their whole picture. And this gentleman wanted to know if he had enough to be able to retire. And I am sure, and you haven't shared this with me, that long-term care was probably one of the components of that discussion.
It was. That whole risk analysis assessment of their current life policy standpoint, term, disability, long-term care. It goes into every single conversation we have with our clients. Because protecting that risk, again, protecting what you have is vitally important to almost all of our clients.
It is. And and just so people can really hear this, I mean, if you're just getting 4 hours a day, 5 to 7 days a week, and that's not a whole lot of care, but that's $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, and that's with after-tax dollars.
Right. And
people don't realize that this is something you got to plan for, and firms like Wealth Trust of Arizona can help you do that. I want to also just restate something you said earlier. You offer a free Get Acquainted meeting to describe your services and fees and to see if Wealth Trust is the right fit for you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We do, and we feel there's value in that initial consultation. And we don't want it to be a threatening situation. So willing to meet with our clients in our Scottsdale office, which is at Scottsdale Road, 8434 East Shea Boulevard. We're on Shea and the 101, basically. And we have an office in Chandler as well, which is on Alma School and Chandler Heights Boulevard. So willing to meet with our clients in our office, at their home, wherever it's most convenient.
I was going to say, you probably would go to their home, too. Absolutely.
I mean, again, they're bringing us from a trust standpoint into their home in many, many situations. So wherever's most comfortable from our client standpoint. An initial meeting usually takes about an hour just to do that initial assessment, get to know them, understand their facts, understand their unique needs, and build that roadmap. Again, be honest with you, not every client's right for us, or not everyone we're not right for them. So it's that assessment to make sure it's a right fit for both parties.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because I was going to say that, because it really is. I mean, it has to be a partnership. And I wish I could tell our listening audience that every single client that I go to visit, and we do a free assessment as well, is right for us. And sometimes, we don't take clients because they're either outside of our scope, or there's somebody that's going to be extremely difficult for us, and we know we're never going to please them. And we try to please everybody, and that's what we want to do. But sometimes you just can't please everyone. And sometimes we've taken those clients. And the hardest thing for us to do is, be engaged with them and just say, you know what, it's not going to work anymore. After we've had 8 caregivers in 2 weeks and it just hasn't worked. The key thing for us is when we do disengage, that we disengage very smoothly in transition, and that's something we do every time.
Very similar to our model as well. It's better to have a conversation up front, whether it's a right fit for both parties, than to get down that path and have to disengage that relationship.
It's hard to believe, Todd. We're almost out of time. And I've really enjoyed having you here on the show today. And I want to invite you back because there's so much more I'd like to talk to you about. And getting to know you just right here on the air. And I've known you for a number of years, right. at least 16, 17 years. But I've gotten a chance to know you better, and I hope our listening audience has gotten to know you too, Todd. Todd Stoa is the president of Wealth Trust of Arizona. If you want to reach Todd, you can reach him at 480-483-7300. And you can also check out Wealth Trust at wealthtrustarizona.com. And if you want to visit Todd this weekend, you can find him Saturday at Sportsman's. And where's that located?
It's off of Utopia and Beardsley. So right off the I-17 in Beardsley. And we'll be there from 9 until 4 on Saturday.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to a great weekend, enjoying the great weather we have here. And I've got my mother-in-law in town, Willie Lorber. We're going to have a great time. Todd, thank you. Thank you very much.
Bob.
Make it a great day. Have a great weekend. You've been listening to Health Trust. I said Health Trust. Health Futures, taking stock in you.
There's no place like home. You've been listening to Bob Roth's Health Futures. If you have questions about your own or your loved one's future health care, call Cypress Home Care Solutions at 602-264-8009. That's 602-264-8009. Or visit CypressHomeCare.com. Be sure to join Health Futures with Bob Roth every Friday at noon, right here on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM invites you to tune in to the one show with smart money strategies for you. We take your calls and questions about your financial plans and retirement plans every single day on The Ray Lucia Show. That's Monday through Friday from 8 until 9 a.m. on Money Radio 1510 and 99.3 FM.
Tune in this and every Wednesday at 9 a.m. as Ray is joined by Medeiros Futuro. Visit PreciousTimber.com for more information.
Money Radio 1510
and 99.3 FM.
It's KFNN Mesa Phoenix and K257 CD Phoenix, the station you've relied on for more than 26 years to keep your financial future on track. We're Money Radio. Dow is now up 127 points. The S&P up 10. NASDAQ is up 23. Oil is down $1.25 a barrel at $49.91.
Just ahead, Money Radio brings you the latest news, business news, Arizona business news, the weather and traffic. And it all starts right now.